Hello! Welcome to White Tarot, where the reader is bubbly, but the readings can get dark. So today I am doing something a little bit different, and instead of focusing on the last week of November, I am focusing my energy on digging a little deeper into the current retrograde season that we're in, going into early next year, because I think it's April. This is the third video that I've done today, and I still haven't Googled if it was April, that all of the outer planets are going direct, or they're stationing into new planets or new signs. Dang it. I feel like this is the third video that I've done today because I am incoherent. So anyway, basically the outer planets locking into their new signs is going to trigger some big shifts on a global scale. And I feel like right now we are all going through our own personal transformations on very, very deep levels, especially with the intensity of a lot of Scorpio energy happening right now. And basically everything being in retrograde. And it almost feels like it's in preparation for whatever is coming next year. So I'm going to start reading now. Okay, getting into Sagittarius. Oh, and the reason why I'm splitting up the videos like this is because each video got like super long. I was only 4 signs in, and the video was like over an hour long. So I decided that I should probably split these up for uploading purposes. Okay. Sagittarius. Oh. 7 of Cups in the reverse. I like that. I actually really like that. I don't like, oh, I do like that. It's the 9 of Swords in reverse. 7 of Swords in reverse. Okay. 7 of Wands in the challenge position. I'm making noises because I'm hearing things as I'm pulling the cards. Now we got the 10 of Cups. There we go. Now we're talking. Okay. 5 of Cups in the challenge position. Death in the reverse. 9 of Cups in the reverse. And we got the Son of Wands in reverse. Dang it, Sag. We started so well. But I guess it wouldn't be a retrograde reading if everything did go all hunky-dory. So I was excited in the beginning of this read because the 7 of Cups and the 9 of Swords and the 7 of Swords being in the reverse is telling me that you're stepping into some kind of truth within yourself. But then when I pulled the 7 of Wands in the challenge position, I heard, but is this okay? And I was like, excuse you? Sagittarius asking if something is okay? Dude, the Sagittarius people that I know are insane. They are crazy people. They are certified freaks 8 days a week. And I love them for that. But that's why I'm like, what do you mean, is this okay? You're asking if something is okay? You just do stuff. And then my Taurus ass has to be like, hey, you're driving and you need to keep your eyes on the road. But yeah, it feels like you're stepping into some kind of truth about yourself. And maybe it's something that'll rock the boat. Maybe it's something that you never knew you needed, but you do. The 10 of Cups being here almost feels like yes, I've found my missing cup. And that's why the 9 of Cups is in the reverse. It's like I found my missing cup, but I'm scared to ask for it. It's like it's in the hands of someone else or something else. And you're like, I'm scared to ask for it. And then we got the 5 of Cups in the challenge position. And that's about crying over spilled milk or returning to a dried up watering hole. I feel like I read this last week where Sag has something to say and they're holding their tongue because they don't want to rock the boat. We got the Death in the reverse and the Son of Wands in reverse, though. And what that's telling me is that that missing piece is something that is deeply linked to your mojo, like your fire as a Sagittarius, and your death and rebirth. They said just the rebirth. It's like you already died, and now to come back to life, you need a thing that you're afraid to ask for. But you know, Sag, I get it now. You have a pattern. You've been told a lot in your life that you're too much, to this, to that, to something. It's kind of like those really, really pretty people that slouch when they sit, like they've been treated some type of way because they're pretty all their lives, that they're actually trying to shrink now. And it's happening on a subconscious level where they're shrinking themselves because they feel like they're too much. Sag is a big energy. Sagittarius has huge energy. I mean, I have one Sagittarius friend that she wears like crystal bracelets like up to here on both arms, and then like a bunch of necklaces and crystal necklaces, and it's like all like really intense high vibrational stuff like moldavite and tektite and all kinds of crazy stuff. Zero grounding stones though, but she's already a lot on her own, and she drinks like 5 monsters a day. And I'm just like, dude, take off like 2/3 of your bracelets right now. But I say it in a loving way because I'm a Taurus anyway. I'm chill no matter what people do. But this feels like there were people that said it and meant it, and it was in different ways. But the reason I say that is because I'm getting weirdly like the image of the moon, and just imagining a bunch of like asteroids hitting it and just chipping away at it until it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller over time. I also heard your fire has been tempered. It's like, and Sag is like the elders of the zodiac. Like if Aries is the baby, Sag is at least a teenager. No, not a teenager. Teenager is more like the middle signs. Sag is a grown ass adult, right? So if Aries is a little candlelight and Leo is a bonfire, Sag is a whole ass forest fire. Sagittarius is meant to be a big energy, but it is also an energy that operates from a place of wisdom and purpose. Like, I don't think that people know just how intuitive and wise Sagittarius is. Sag always kind of, for some reason, reminds me of Jim Carrey. I don't know if Jim Carrey is a Sagittarius or not, but like, he's a comedian, right? Or he was a comedian. He doesn't act anymore, but so he's got that goofy thing going on, but then like when he had a spiritual awakening, like he started saying some pretty like intensely wise stuff, and not everybody's caught up to that. Like a lot of people still just see him as like the mask or like that goofy guy from Ace Ventura, but that's the kind of energy that I get from Sagittarius, where they're wild and free and big and like flamboyant almost, like they're loud and they're big, but they're also very deep. And I don't think people give enough credit to just how sensitive they also are. And that's what this feels like. It's like the people around you believed in what they had projected onto you, and you played into it so well that, okay, another thing that's coming to mind is a really weird one. It's like I'm imagining like Thanksgiving dinner, and then like somebody puts some stuff on your plate and they're like, "Yeah, I made this because like you love it, right? Like you eat it every year." And you want to be like, "Actually, every year I have to secretly take an antihistamine in the bathroom after I eat this because I'm allergic to one of the ingredients." But you're not saying that. It's like something that you've always pretended that you're okay with. You're having a hard time pretending that you're still okay with it. Or something that you've always pretended that you didn't need. You're having a harder time pretending that you don't need it. Because the truth is that you do need it. You need it because your fire is dying. You don't feel at home in your own life anymore. Like, this is something maybe not big and drastic, but it's chipped away at you over time. And maybe in this retrograde season, that's what you're sitting with. All the time that you've spent depriving yourself of something that you needed and wanted. I think, Sag, one thing that you forget is that the people that love you will want to see you thrive. Like, the moments that I love my friend the most is when she's just so out of hand that all I can do is just stand there and be like, wow, look at her go. It's because I don't have the energy to keep up with her. I mean, I'm literally chronically ill. And also, I'm a Taurus, so I'm kind of slow paced to begin with. But I don't care. Like, I don't care if I can't keep up with her. I don't care if she's a lot for me in the moment. I want to see her at her maximum potential. And I think that you are forgetting that people that love you see you that way. You're not too much for the right person. And this could be a relationship, it could be friendship. This definitely has something to do with other people, though, and how you're perceived and how you're misunderstood. But just picture this. Picture yourself growing like a ficus. And could you imagine if the ficus looked up at you and went, I'm just going to stop growing now because I don't want to get too big for the space. I'm sorry. I'm going to prune myself. Don't worry about it. I'm just going to stop growing. Wouldn't that make you sad? Like, if your ficus said that to you, wouldn't you be just so sad and be like, no, I water you, I fertilize you, I gave you the best window in the house. I want you to take over the house. Like, by all means, rip a hole in the ceiling. I don't care. But I want you to grow as big as you can go. And that's the energy that I'm feeling from those around you. And maybe you're having a hard time leaning into that. I remember when I got sick, I have always been the type of person that would rather suffer alone than ask anyone for help. I never asked anyone for anything. I'm the person that just goes, okay, I'll figure it out. But when I got sick and I was literally unconscious for a week, I had brain surgery and I came back and I couldn't walk. I couldn't move around. I had no choice but to ask for help. And that's when it hit me. Because the people that I asked were so happy that I did. That's when it hit me. That when you refuse to ask, you're depriving the people around you that love you of that joy of taking care of someone that you love. That's a fulfilling feeling. You're not in the way. You're not too much. You're not. And if they make you feel that way, you're asking the wrong damn person. Like, they don't love you if they act like you're a nuisance if you ask for something. But that's how bonds are made. That's how people connect. They take care of each other. And you should know that, because something tells me that you're the type of person that takes care of everybody else. But you're afraid to ask for your own needs. And I used to think that way, so I get it. It's like, oh, well, I don't want to be too much. I don't want to get in the way. I don't want to this. I don't want to that. But the flip side of it is that you're depriving people of the opportunity to care for you, to feel the joy of caring for you. And Sag, if there's one thing that I know you are, it's brave. You're a freaking centaur. Have you seen those guys in Harry Potter? Like, they are ruthless. So if you're afraid of asking for once and being told no, you're not going to get any less afraid by holding off. You know this. The brave know this. That courage doesn't happen before you do the scary thing. Courage happens by doing the scary thing. Scared. Courage is not an input, it's an output. So is confidence. It's okay to show people your depth. It's okay to show people your vulnerability. And it's okay to need. It's better to just spit it out than let it leak out sideways, I say. I remember when I was a kid, I used to hate it when other kids, like, let's say I was eating something that looked good, and other kids would just kind of peek over and be like, wow, what you're eating looks really good. Man, I wish I could try some. But they wouldn't just outright say, like, can I have some? They would just be like, man, I wish, oh, that looks really good. Oh, I hated that because I don't like it when people's energy doesn't match the output. I don't like it when people go sideways instead of just spitting it out. And if they spit it out, I don't care what they're saying. I can accept it. Oh, you killed somebody? Okay. Oh, you have a freezer full of human body parts? Sure. All right, fine. Oh, you want me to help you bury a body? All right. But hint at it? I'm going to pretend you didn't. I'm going to pretend that you didn't. I intentionally ignore that. I catch it and I ignore it. I'm like, I'm going to ignore this until they actually speak to me straightforwardly. I purposely ignore hints because I'm trying to train the people around me to just say what they mean and mean what they say. And that's why I say it's better to just spit it out than to let it leak out sideways. You're too good to be letting it leak out sideways. But in order to have that kind of confidence, you have to learn how to be firm. As in, you have to accept the fact that what you need is what you need. It's not negotiable. You can't just unneed what you need. It's like telling a freaking pothos to just be okay with being treated like a succulent. Like, what you need is what you need. There's no skirting around that, but it's like you're skirting around it within yourself at the moment. You're just like, oh, well, maybe I don't need it that bad. Maybe I don't want it that bad. Once you accept that you do, that's where you're going to be like, hey, I need this. Deal with it. Hopefully you'll ask a little nicer than that, but you know what I mean. It's hard to push things straightforwardly outward when you're not even straightforwardly in yourself. And right now you're going through the part where you're trying to get straightforwardly within yourself. Does this make sense? Sure it does. Okay. All right. Moving on to Capricorn. Oh, Six of Cups. No. Feels wrong. Nope, there we go. Daughter of Swords. Justice. Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Ten of Wands. Eight of Wands in the challenge position. Hierophant in the reverse. And the Hermit. This feels like a very spiritual spread. Six of Cups is about nostalgia, children, deep roots. And what I'm getting right now is childhood programming. That's a tough one. That is a tough one. Because and I know this from experience, going through your childhood programming and trying to reprogram yourself is not easy. Basically, you have to strip yourself down to nothing to figure that part out. How much of me is my programming? How much of me was a trauma response? How much of me is really even me? And then how do you define yourself? I remember learning in my psychology class that actually personalities are not a thing. They're not real. They're just a measurable, quantifiable set of traits and tendencies. And it changes throughout the day. Like, work me is very different from YouTube me, and YouTube me is very different from alone me, And alone me is very different from with mom me, and with friends me is also very different from with mom me. And does that make me two-faced? Does that make me multifaceted? Or does that just make me a transient being? But then how do you define me? But we know that there's something there. We know that people, though they may have their moments, are pretty reliably consistent. There's something that doesn't change throughout the day, and that's the soul. I've actually even learned this in a Harvard psychology class, where people have an essence to them, that there is nature and there is nurture, and there's a part of us that is neither. And you're looking for the neither. They said that there are theories that this is the human soul. It's the reason why you can show a group of babies that are supposedly blank canvases, maybe a little bit of nature already in there, like a clown doll or something, and some of them are going to cry, some of them are going to giggle, some of them are not even going to be paying attention. There is something inherent in us that's always been there, that's always been constant. I think for me, the thing that has stayed constant throughout my life, personally, is my curiosity. I've always been the kid that asks why a lot. I've always been the kid that liked to dissect things until I figured out how they worked. I used to take apart small electronics and put them back together. I was studying the mechanisms. Or when I didn't know something, I was not satisfied and I wanted to look it up. I wanted to do my research. I obsessively researched everything that I got interested in. I was never satisfied with just being like, oh, I don't know. Ironically, I ended up learning later on in life that that's also a very important thing to be able to do, is to just accept not knowing. But the inherent part of my personality is my curiosity. That's the part of me that nothing gave me or can take away. And it feels like that is what you're trying to figure out, who you are. And you seem to be taking a very almost clinical approach to it. I say that because it's the Daughter of Swords. And she is very she's a sword, energy, mind, logic, rationale. But she also always gives me the impression that there's a little bit of heart, a little bit more heart than the other cards in the suit. With Justice being here, honestly, the impression that I get is that what's triggering this is this lofty feeling of suddenly not knowing how to act. Like you feel out of character. And then that's prompting you to think, character. What's my character? I believe it was a while back where I was talking about Capricorn going through a spiritual awakening and starting to see signs and things like that. This seems to be an extension of that. It's like, because this is part of the process. It's that feeling of like you were mid-sentence and suddenly you forgot what you were talking about. Except it's like you were mid-life and then all of a sudden you forgot what you were doing here, or who you are, or what am I? You get stripped down to absolutely nothing. It's almost it's like a purge, because this energy feels really vast. 9 of Pentacles in reverse, 10 of Wands in the upright, 8 of Wands in the challenge position. It also feels heavy. It feels heavy because it's the difference between doing something consciously versus unconsciously. Like if you put me in front of a piano, muscle memory does most of the work. I'm not thinking about it. Oh, and this does happen a lot where I'd just be playing and I know the song. My muscles know the song, but I don't mentally know the song, but I'm not mentally there at the moment. So I just keep playing. And then once I look at the notes and realize I don't know where I am in the song, I don't know the next part, but I don't know where I am on the notes. And then I'm like, oh my God, where am I? What part, where am I? What part was this? And then I suddenly become very conscious. And now all of a sudden my playing is awkward because now I'm playing according to the notes and not just letting the muscle memory do its thing. That's what this feels like. Like that's what the 10 of Wands is that the suddenly you're just really conscious. And you're like, am I following the notes, or is this how I really am? Is this natural to me, or am I just acting out on programming? And it's like everything that you do, everything that you say, everything that you think, you're questioning it. To which I say, good. Good. That's part of the process. Hierophant in reverse and the Hermit upright. Believe it or not, the bulk of this part of the spiritual process happens on a mental level, not a spiritual one. The bulk of this process isn't about spirituality at all, although it leads you to clearing your channels for work in the future. The bulk of this process doesn't happen by practicing, it doesn't happen by channeling, it doesn't happen through that. I mean, I'm not saying stop. Definitely keep going if it feels right. But the bulk of the work right now, this is psychology. Because you're not being asked about your spirit or your soul right now. You're being asked who you are. And this is the process of trying to figure it out. But you're playing the piano and you got jolted out of that muscle memory lull. And suddenly you're aware of the notes in front of you. Suddenly you're very aware of the code that was embedded into you. But that's the tricky thing about this process, is that sometimes that code attaches itself to your essence and it gets hard to separate the two. And not all of the code is meant to be thrown away. Some of it is just genuine growth as a person. And I can tell you from experience, the shortcut to this is that at some point you're going to learn that you're not meant to undo anything. You're not meant to delete anything. You're meant to overwrite. And I have personal experience with this. I grew up being treated like a thing. I was an object. I was not allowed to have emotions. And I mean, seriously, I was punished physically, mentally, emotionally for expressing emotions. I was not allowed to be inconvenient in any way. I was not allowed to have needs. And the programming repeated itself through different life experiences, but by that time it was deeply, deeply embedded in me that I don't need anything. I just need to stay out of everyone's way. So it took a while for me to even recognize myself as a human being. And I'd come to realize that I cannot delete the programming. I can't erase 18 years of my life. I can't remove the part of my brain that my childhood is stored in. That's not how this works. But I can overwrite. And I can choose to move forward differently. I don't have to forget. I just have to choose how I'm going to act. And sometimes it really is fake it till you make it. Even when you don't feel worthy, even when you feel wrong for asking, even if you feel like you're too much, ask anyway, do anyway, say anyway. Because it's through repeated safe experiences that our nervous system heals. No amount of doing that work in your head is going to heal your nervous system. Your nervous system is in your body. So sometimes you have to do and keep doing, no matter how uncomfortable it feels, until your nervous system believes you. You do, to reassure your nervous system that it's safe. It's reassurance to yourself. I know this totally sounds like split personality or something, but something that I tend to do is I tend to talk to myself inside my head. Like when I am starting to get depressed, I go, all right, let's go to the kitchen. We'll get you a snack. And then you're going to eat something nice and that's going to make you feel a little better. And then go take a shower. And so I internally pretend that I'm taking care of someone else, but that someone else is me. And so doing the scary thing scared, I tell myself it's going to be okay. And if it's not okay, we will headbutt them. And then it'll be okay anyway. We're going to do the thing and it'll be okay. And then we do the thing and it turns out okay. And then I turn back to myself and I go, see, everything was fine. We worked ourselves up for nothing. I know I sound like a certified crazy person, and I probably am, but it's worked for me. Just pretending that I'm someone else on the inside, because I tend to take care of other people better than I take care of myself. And so the hack to that was just pretending that I'm someone else. I'm like a Tamagotchi that I'm caring for on the inside. I feel like I'm going on like an irreversible tangent here, but basically, long story short, the ending of this process, I can tell you from experience, is probably not going to look like you're anticipating it to look like. It's not this whole like, oh yeah, I processed through it and now I'm so much better and I'm different now. Yay. No, it is oh wow. There's a lot of stuff in here that I don't want to keep, but getting rid of it is not as easy as just dropping it off at the nearby thrift store or dumpster. I have to, there's a period of discomfort of practice, outward practice. And that's how the healing starts, by doing differently. It's not a delete, it's not a reset, it's a overwrite. Okay. Man, that got long. We're only what, 2 signs in and I'm already at 44 minutes. All right. Okay. Next we're going Aquarius. I say that because every time I do an Aquarius reading, I'm yelling. And I don't want to yell today. This is a retrograde reading where we need gentle. For God's sakes, Aquarius, I swear to God. Okay. What's this about? We got the 7 of Pentacles in reverse, the Chariot in the challenge position, as always. The 6 of Swords in the upright, the Son of Swords in the upright, Daughter of Swords in the reverse. Star in the reverse. 8 of Swords in the reverse. The World and the 2 of Cups in reverse. You know what, Aquarius, at this point, I feel like we just need to throw hands. So, 7 of Pentacles in reverse, that to me is saying that you're investing in the wrong thing. That's why your Chariot's in the challenge position. Because the Chariot is about fast movement forward. It's about, okay, now we ride to victory, and that's in the challenge position. It's because whatever you're going towards doesn't feel right. You know it's not right. Star in the reverse. Hopes, wishes, dreams in the reverse. 6 of Swords in the upright. That's the rainbow after the storm. Along with the Son of Swords, Daughter of Swords in reverse, and 8 of Swords in reverse. But then we have the 2 of Cups in reverse. You know, I hate doing love readings. And I hate doing like outside of the body readings because I tend to like to focus on the energy within the person. But that's the thing, is you're putting your energy outside of yourself, as in you're externalizing yourself. By that I mean it's like so For example, let's say you're going through a breakup and you're like, wow, I'm so bummed. I know it's going to make me feel better. We'll get back together. That ain't it, dude. That ain't it. Because you broke up for a reason. People tend to do that. They tend to do that. They tend to externalize the problem and externalize the solution. But both are actually within themselves, but they're not internalizing the experience. They're not reflecting inward. They're just, it's like, okay, this happened, so now this needs to happen so that I can stop feeling the suck. Maybe I'm just a morbid weirdo, but when I feel despair and tragedy and all those intense feelings, there's a part of me that likes it. And I'm like, yeah, give me that artist fuel. Make me stronger. Like, it feels like fertilizer, and fertilizer is literally poo water. And plants eat that stuff up. Like, they need it to grow more robust, right? So, like, for me, when life throws me a bag of cow poo, I'm just like, yeah, give it to me. But there are a lot of people out there that are not like that. And I guess those are normal people that are like, I don't like this. I don't want to feel this. So I'm going to do everything I can to not have to sit through this. And then as a result, they don't really grow. They don't deepen at all as a person. And those are the people that never have anything to talk about. Like, all you hear when you're around them is freaking elevator music, because there is absolutely nothing going on in there. They are NPCs. They are freaking NPCs. They just go, are you working hard or hardly working? Oh, you know, that kind of energy. There's nothing deep going on here. It's just oh, I know what to do. We'll just get back together. That's not the point of this process, bro. And it almost seems like it's not until that door shuts on you that this world endings and new beginnings is going to happen. And I feel like I've been like saying this for weeks now for the Aquarius readings, because there's an Aquarius out there that just keeps acting like a freaking wind up toy. It's like you wind it up and it just goes but it just keeps going that direction, like a Roomba, like one of the old school Roombas. My Roomba's smart. It like knows the house and stuff, but like those old school Roombas that just keep bumping into shit and then turning and then just continuing on until they bump into something else. Like, that's Aquarius, that's your pattern. That's your pattern that you need to deal with in this retrograde season, is externalizing your experiences. And I feel like this was like one of the first readings that I ever did for Aquarius, is get into your heart. Less thinky, more feely, I remember yelling at the camera. Because you're externalizing the experience, you're externalizing your discomfort and the solution, and you're dragging someone else into it. But the discomfort, it's like, okay, it's almost like, let's say you have like a stomach tumor and you keep going to the spa for a back massage to fix it, but you need surgery. You need to get cut open, get that sucker dug out of there, sewn back up, and go through the recovery process. But you're avoiding that. You're afraid to go too deep because you know that there's a lot of messed up stuff in there. I will leave you with this. Both the problem and the solution are within you. There is nothing external right now that you can do to fix this. Okay. Finally, moving on to Pisces. Two of Wands, Four of Wands in the reverse, Nine of Pentacles and Judgment in the challenge positions, Strength in the upright, Hangman in the reverse. Son of Cups in the upright. Wow, this is really surprising. Pisces, this feels like stepping... Okay, so Pisces tends to be very escapist. That's the dark side of Pisces, is that they just, a lot of them refuse to look at reality. And I tend to be a little tapped into the Pisces energy as well. I don't have any placements that I know of in Pisces, but, or no, my Lilith is in Pisces. But other than that, I have a very Neptune heavy chart. So a lot of Neptunian influence in my chart. And what I understand of Pisces energy is that Pisces tends to like to live in a daydream. And I'm that way myself. It's hard to look at reality. It's kind of like when I think of Pisces energy or the Neptunian side of my being, I remember that speech from that guy in The Green Mile where he was talking about feels like shards of glass. That's how it feels, tapping into reality. It hurts. Everything seems cruel and harsh. But this feels like you're growing a spine. But in typical Pisces fashion, a watery spine. A spine that's about the heart. A spine that is kind, but grounded. I say this because the Four of Wands in reverse is about, well, the Four of Wands in the upright is about solid foundations, and that's in the reverse. Nine of Pentacles is about independence, financial abundance, or having enough. Judgment is pretty self-explanatory, I think. And it's kind of that aha epiphany moment, and all of that is in the challenge position or the reverse. And the image that I'm getting is like, so Pisces tends to be very evasive, right? Escapist. And when they sense something harsh, they just swim away. They just change direction. They just go somewhere else. And then, oh, something harsh over here. Now I'm just going to go over here. And they just kind of spend their life swimming around. But they also tend to have a very steady home base. And it's like, let's say you're a fish in a fish tank. And you're swimming around and around and around and around and around. And, the owner tries to like reach in with a net and you're like, oh, you can't catch me. I'm too fast. Bye. But at the end of the day, you've been in the same tank. You're in a box. Like if you zoom out and look at your life, you're in a box. You're swimming around, you feel free, but you're still in a box. And it's like you're coming to that realization that if you want to make it out in a pond or in the ocean, then in exchange for your surroundings becoming evasive and tumultuous and shifting, you're going to have to become the solid. And now the question is, Hangman in reverse, what looks like freedom to you? Because on one hand, if you're a fish in a fish tank, you know that you can go anywhere within that tank and be safe. There's nothing out there to hurt you. But if you're out in a pond or you're out in the ocean, there are bluegill out there, there's bass, there's catfish, there's all kinds of stuff that can go get you. So you actually might end up spending a lot of your day just hiding behind stuff. So what looks like freedom to you? And that seems to be the question here. I know that this is a little bit like adjacent to what this is, but it's kind of on the same vein. I went through some wildlife rehabilitation training recently because I want to get a certified, I want to become a certified wildlife rehabber. And the number one thing that we were taught is not to coddle the animals. You're not supposed to let the animals, the wild animals, get used to humans. We need to let them maintain their fear of humans. So whether this be covering up when we're taking care of them, we're not supposed to be cuddling the baby bunnies. Basically, we have to be as hands off as possible. I mean, they need to be fed every hour or whatever, or no, rabbits need to be fed twice a day. Anyway, or squirrels need to be fed like a bunch of times a day. But we still have to maintain our distance so that they don't get attached to us. Like, we can't have a bunch of squirrels out there that aren't afraid of humans, and a human would walk up and they'll just climb up their leg and be like, hi, and the human's going to freak out and maybe hurt them or think that something's wrong with them and kill them. And we can't have that. These wild animals need to maintain their wildness. And I can't remember the full quote, but they put a quote up on the screen in the training, and it was something to do with how they have to be wild and free. And sometimes this means horrible things happening to them, because that's nature, right? These rabbits, these squirrels, they get eaten by other stuff. But even if it was just for a brief moment, they get to be wild and free. Reptiles, birds, they do tend to have longer lifespans in captivity. Little known fact, doves actually can live about 35 years, but they only last about a year out in the wild. Why? Because they were domesticated once. And so a lot of their natural instincts are gone. They're no different from stray cats being outside. They only get to live a year out in the wild when they are capable of living 35 years. And that's terrible. I would take them all in if I could. But the angle that I'm looking at right now in this context of your reading is it better for those doves to be beating their wings up against cage bars for 35 years, or for them to be flying outside in the open for a year? That's what your reading is asking. And either one could look like freedom to you. And I'm not here to tell you which one. Because one could argue that within that tank, that fish is free. That fish can do more things, swim around more, because it's not hiding from predators. One could also argue that the fish just doesn't know just how limited it actually is. That's what you're pondering. That's what you're feeling in this retrograde. What does freedom look like to you? Okay, well, that concludes all of the zodiac signs for this retrograde / whatever the heck is happening next year readings. And if you liked what you saw here today, please feel free to like, share, comment to help me out with the algorithm, subscribe, and hit the notification button so that you get notified every time I post a video. And I'll see you in the next one.